Hey everybody, my name is Brittany and I started studying the Bible in April of 2017. And when I first started, I knew nothing about it. It was a lot of information. It was stressful, sometimes overwhelming. So I wanted to start a Bible for Beginners Bible study. This week, we are going to look at Ezekiel. Ezekiel was also one of the prophets. He lived during Jerusalem's fall, and he was exiled into Babylon. The first chapter is God introducing himself and telling Ezekiel about his new job as a prophet. And we meet some crazy looking people. We meet 4 angels that they're described in the first chapter as having 4 faces and 4 wings. A lot of other crazy descriptions. My kids have actually tried to draw them from the descriptions in the Bible, and it is hilarious. Anyways, God calls Ezekiel to tell the Israelites about their upcoming end because of their sin and wickedness. But like before, they don't listen. And Ezekiel even depicts this end with models and acts. He lays out for a certain number of days to show about the exile. You can find all that in chapter 4. I can't remember exact details off the top of my head. Ezekiel tells them that they will be destroyed, even the high kings. Chapter 10, God describes those 4 angels again. And as they leave the temple, and again, God warns against idols and fake gods, false teachers who gives false hope, and who tell everybody everything's okay when it's not okay. God assures them that his judgment will be so harsh that even the most righteous people like Noah and Moses would only be able to save himself and not anyone else. That's in 14:12. Chapter 16 describes Jerusalem as a baby God finds thrown out and unwanted, and he nurtures the baby to her health and cares for her, and then she cheats on him. A lot of times in the Bible, adultery is used as a simile between God being the husband, the Israelites being his wife, and her going off and worshiping other gods. Used several times throughout the Bible. Let's see. Chapter 18 assures that each will die for their own sin, not the sin of their parents or their children. Also says that if you turn your life around and become righteous, then you will be saved. Sorry, I'm babysitting my mom's puppy. Come here, baby. Or if you start out righteous and then start doing wicked things and don't repent, then you can go the other way too. Chapter 25 starts describing how other nations would be brought low because they were happy about Israel's demise or talked bad about Israel. Many trading nations were happy because they thought that they would get Israel's business whenever Israel was destroyed. Many times God destroys other nations because he doesn't want them to be happy about Israel being destroyed. He's not happy about it. He doesn't want anybody else to be happy about it. And he's like, you can't celebrate somebody else failing. I lost my place. God tells Ezekiel that Babylon will take over Egypt as a gift to Nebuchadnezzar for doing God's work. So Egypt, Nebuchadnezzar is over Egypt. They take over. Nebuchadnezzar is from Babylon. They take over Egypt for doing God's work. See, there were 7 prophecies against Egypt here. These nations, saying that these nations will go to hell with the lowest of lows, which was very shameful. One of the chapters I loved in this book was 34, which basically says, since human teachers didn't do their jobs and God's children went astray since they couldn't lead them properly, that God's going to come over and take over all his children and fix their problems and take care of them. And it goes into say how God is going to take care of them, and it's really sweet. I love when God is depicted as a father in similes like that. Chapter 38 describes the battle against Gog. Okay, so some think this was an ancient person. Some believe this is the same Gog mentioned in Revelation at end time, Revelation 20, at the end of 1,000 years of peace, which makes sense since Ezekiel 38 says Gog will try to attack them at the least expected time. Of course, God defeats Gog, and chapter 40 through 48 describe Ezekiel being shown a new temple. Let's go back to Gog real quick. Sorry. I've got a lot of things going on. It's kind of distracting me with the puppy. So it's a really interesting study. Like I said, Gog is mentioned in Revelation. And it really fits, but it's one of those things again where you kind of have to make your own opinion about it, whether you think it actually happened in those times or whether it's a prophecy against the end of times. And I looked into it because it was something that was puzzling me, and it was really, really interesting to do a study on that. Okay, so chapter 40 through 48. This is a large prophecy book. I'm trying to cover a little bit of everything. Describe Ezekiel being shown the new temple by an angel. The angels are telling Ezekiel and showing Ezekiel all these things and giving him all the measurements so that he can write it down, and how to build all the buildings, how to divide the land, and now God will live in that new temple just like he did in the Ark of the Covenant, because he likes to live among his people. Very much, very similar the temple in Moses' time, and the thing is this temple has not been built yet. This temple has not been built yet, and Ezekiel is written in chronological order, so I'm thinking that it might not be built until the end of times, but we don't know. And I've got a kid home from school sick, so I'm trying to check on him. Alright, so after doing some research, and I'm a visual learner, I can't understand all the measurements and stuff listed. I made a diagram. Let's see. Nope. Alright, so that is Ezekiel's temple. You've got the temple proper, the Holy of Holies. That's where God would be. You've got the sacrifice offer. Okay, so around here, the little squares are just like little rooms, and then these, you have gates on 3 of the sides. Hey, baby. You've got the storehouse. You've got the cooking for the offering, the priest's kitchen, all the priest chambers. I've got some of the measurements on there. This is important. God enters through the east gate, so nobody else can. It's still something that I'm studying. Because stuff like this is just hard for me to comprehend, so it takes me a while. And this is pretty cool. I found a size comparison chart. So this is Ezekiel's whole temple thing, and this is Paraz. This is Solomon's, which I've done a video on that. And then this is a regular American football field. So you can see how humongous it is. It is huge. And then they divided up the land too. you want to see that. And so the, hang on, I'm trying to focus it. So the temple would be right there. Ezekiel's temple. And then the 12 tribes around it. So it hasn't been built yet. And they say, a lot of people, sorry, that's way out of focus, isn't it? They say that when it's built, it signifies the end of time. I don't really have an opinion on that. I don't study end of time stuff because I don't really care to. Like, it's interesting, but I'm kind of one of those people, it's like, when it happens, it happens. I'm not going to try and pinpoint and see all the signs leading up to it and such. So I study it a little bit, but I'm not one of those that's trying to pinpoint an exact time or signs that it's coming. Come here. So next week we will study Daniel, another prophet, and I hope you guys have a great week. God bless.